Meeting of the Clarke County Board of Education will now come to order. Ms. McNamara, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Spangler? Here. Mr. Payne?
Here.
Mr. Nunley?
Here.
Ms. Wright? Mrs. Ellis?
Here.
Mr. Worthy?
Here.
Mrs. Williams? Mr. Huff?
Here.
Mr. Thornton?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any amendments to the agenda? Any amendments?
I do have an amendment. It's given information to the board. I'd like to add a number 7, and that would be a recommendation for the purchase of netbooks.
Okay.
Add a number 7.
Number 7, notebooks, Athens Community Career Academy, and that is listed on your yellow packet, board members.
That is on your, I sent it to you, and also is in your important packet.
Okay, all right. Any other amendments? Any other amendments? I have a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Mr. Payne, seconded by Dr. Spangler. All in favor? Got a unanimous vote. Motion passed. Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like you to stand, join us in a moment of silence, and we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Recognition of achievements and awards, Anissa.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, and members of the board. I am pleased to recognize many outstanding individuals from the Clarke County School District tonight. Honorees, when I call your name, please come forth, accept your certificate, and shake the board members' hands. First, the International Future Problem Solving Bowl. Congratulations to Katie Mayfield for success and exciting accomplishments representing herself, Barrow Elementary School, Katie, and the Clarke County School District at the International Future Problem Solving Bowl in Wisconsin in June. Katie was the only representative of Clarke County and performed at the highest level. Katie was representing Barrow Elementary School as the 5th grade State of Georgia winner of the scenario writing contest, and she's now a 6th grader at Clarke Middle School. Katie was the flag bearer for the state of Georgia, and she competed with the junior future problem solving team from Pinckneyville Middle School in Norcross. This team won 2nd place at the International Bowl, placing them as the best team in North America. Katie also participated in the on-site scenario writing competition and placed 3rd. In addition to recognizing Katie tonight, we'd also like to add that her coaches Jan Mullins and Sarah Britton Vaughn come forth to accept certificates. Congratulations to all.
Thank you so much.
The Clarke Middle School Media Center was recently given the highest honors by the Georgia Department of Education for being an exemplary middle school library media program. The program earned exemplary marks in all 20 areas judged by the state, including student achievement and staff development. Let me give this to you, Sean. Tad, come on up too. I've got one for you. One example of a project that Sean leads is OWL TV. Thank you. Sean leads OWL TV, the school's broadcasting channel, where she teaches students how to work collaboratively using a variety of equipment and software. She also places a strong focus on digital ethics, and students are well versed in following copyright laws and providing citations using Creative Commons licensing. She's also leading an 8th grade social studies project as she collaborates with teachers regularly, where students research topics related to the American Revolution. Following their research, they create and share presentations using web-based multimedia tools. It's a project such as these that has led the Clarke Middle School Media Center to be named exemplary by the state of Georgia's Department of Education. Congratulations, Sean. Next, congratulations go to the Odyssey and Iliad publications from Clarke Central High School. The 2011 Iliad Literary Art Magazine has been evaluated as an all-American publication by the National Scholastic Press Association. The magazine received marks of distinction for content, photography, arts, graphics, typography, layout, and concept. The 2010-11 Odyssey News magazine received an All-American evaluation as well. It also received marks of distinction for coverage and content, writing and editing, photos, art and graphics, layout and design, and leadership. Additionally, the Odyssey News magazine was also announced as a Pacemaker finalist, a prestigious designation by the National Scholastic Press Association. Tonight we will recognize advisor David Ragsdale and several student representatives. Mr. Ragsdale? And I will call out.
There's your architect.
Mr. Ragsdale. Okay. Okay, I will call the students' names and we'll be sending their certificates. Hannah Dunn Grand Prix. Alexa Friedman. Mary Wynn Granum. Chloe Hargrave. Caleb Hayes. Annie Jenkins. Emma Cassane, Gabrielle Soap, and Molly Sherman. Congratulations.
Doing good until you asked about it.
Way to go, David.
We had some great posters submitted to the first annual Clarke County School District Bus Poster Contest. This year's theme was I See the driver sees me. We are pleased to announce the winners of our local contest. Congratulations to the Division I winner, Michael M., a first grader from Cleveland Road Elementary School. Michael?
Oh, you ready to go?
Here cheering on Michael are his art teacher, Karen Blankenship, his classroom teacher, Beverly Harper, and his principal, Tanya Long. Thank you.
Super job. Congratulations.
Okay,
And the Division II winner from grades 3 through 5 is Zykeria Dean, a 5th grader at Alps Road Elementary School. Zykeria? Here cheering on Zykeria are her art teacher Beverly Barksdale and principal Anita Lumpkin Barnett. Their posters will now be submitted to compete in the 2011 Georgia School Bus Safety Poster Contest. Let's all wish them well in this next step towards a national poster winner. Congratulations again, and thanks to all of those who participated. Three Clarke County students were named National Merit Semifinalists for Excellence on the PSAT. Of the 1.5 million students that submit entries for competition, only 16,000 are recognized as semifinalists. Congratulations to these students for academic excellence. Eliza Rothstein from Clarke Central High School. Mike Xiao from Cedar Shoals High School. And Jason Yee, who's a graduate from Cedar Shoals. now the 4-star awards recipients, which are our employee awards given each month. First is Delree Faison, bus driver with CCSD Transportation. And Delree was nominated for this by Ashley Wegman. Is she here tonight?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Congratulations. Let me share with you what Ashley Wegman wrote about her. Thank you. Miss Faison drove the CCHS volleyball team to Savannah for a play day. She was awesome. She went above and beyond to make sure that we had everything we needed and treated all of us like we were her personal kids. She set up the team food table at the tournament, helped carry coolers, and even helped clean the kitchen after meals. She jumped right in and felt like a part of our team family. When we got back to Athens, she came to Cedar to watch us play the following Tuesday night and made the effort to hug each of the girls, wishing them luck, and then came to our home game the following week. Miss Faison is a class act and is truly deserving of this award. She is the type of employee that goes above and beyond each day and is one of the warmest, kindest people that I have ever met. I was truly blessed to have Miss Faison show up and drive us to our tournament. Congratulations. And for our next honoree, this was the first time it happened. 2 separate people nominated Ms. Barbara Gray for an award. And so she is truly a special employee nominated by 2 individuals this month. And I'm going to read both of them, and I'll try not to cry when I read them this time, Barbara. Here you go. First from Katie Wheeler, which is her coworker. And Barbara is a bus router in transportation. I work with Barbara to ensure my homeless students receive school bus transportation to their schools of origin, as this is a right homeless students have under the McKinney-Vento Act. Homeless students move often, sometimes once or twice per month. Often these students reside out of county, which requires Barbara to coordinate with other county transportation offices. All of this may seem fairly typical for her job, but this happens numerous times per week for hundreds of students, an average of 330 students per year. It happens so often I have to remind myself that Barbara has responsibilities to other programs. She not only strives to perform well as an employee, she genuinely cares about my students. Last year, she organized a food drive at the transportation department and brought 2 truckloads of food to disperse to homeless families at Thanksgiving. She also works with the drivers to help them understand the special situations that homeless children face. She does this in order to ensure her drivers are also dedicated to supporting homeless students. Remember, in these situations, drivers do not have to agree to work extra time transporting students all over the county. I am so thankful for Barbara's dedication and hard work. I work with homeless liaisons all over the state, and their experience with their transportation departments is vastly different than mine. Barbara works nights, weekends, holidays, whatever is needed to get the job done. And just when I think it's not going to work out, Barbara pulls it off. She's amazing, and I don't know what I'd do without her. And Stephanie Anderson, a homeless ed resource aide, also said of Barbara, Barbara Gray goes above and beyond her call of duty to make sure that the homeless students of the school district are transported to and from school on time. This is a very difficult task as these students are constantly moving from place to place. Most of these situations require that she totally reroute buses to meet these students' needs. Many of our students live in homeless shelters and are embarrassed to be picked up at the shelter. Barbara caters to these students by having them picked up at another location. She talks with her drivers about being understanding towards these students and what they are going through. Her drivers do not have to agree to transport many of these students outside of their normal routes. In most cases, it causes them to work later than normal. Barbara always tries to communicate with them that they are doing all of this for a very good cause. She is awesome. Congratulations. Next is Terry Reed, the police team leader at Clarke Central High School, and he was nominated for this award by Chief Frank Platt. Terry? This is what Chief had to say. Terry continues to perform above and beyond expectations. While away on a business trip which coincided with high school graduations, I asked Terry if he would coordinate security for this event. While he has performed this duty for years, he had to also coordinate with the UGA Police Department for the first time. I received reports that everything went well with no incidents occurring. This is just one example of the hard work and consistency Terry has shown over the years while performing his job. Dr. Hooker, as well as former principal Dr. Easom, have stated on many occasions that they consider Terry as valuable as any administrator on their team. I not only consider him a valuable employee, but a longtime friend as well. I feel that Terry is deserving of the 4-star award. Congratulations. And finally, Sharon Williams, Title I Fiscal Specialist in Instructional Services. And here you go. And Sharon was nominated for this award by Jane Matthews, her coworker. She said, Sharon has dedicated more than a decade of service to the Clarke County School District, with most of that service being in the Title I office. To say that Sharon exceeds the expectations of her duties assigned would be an understatement. Sharon's attitude is that with pulling together, we can accomplish what looks like the impossible. Most recently, Title I underwent a cross-functional monitoring while at the same time going through the arduous process of moving 7 of our schools from a targeted assistance program to a school-wide program. All of this occurred during a vacancy in the Title I director's position. So in a very short time, a mountain of paperwork was compiled to satisfy the auditors, and the 7 school-wide plans were submitted to the state by the deadline. Sharon never lets the not my job syndrome get in the way of what needs to be done. She can quickly assess a project and gets right to work. To her coworkers, Sharon has dedicated more than a decade of service to the school district, with most of that service in the Title I office. To say that Sharon exceeds the expectations of her duties assigned would be an understatement. Sharon's attitude is that with pulling together, we can accomplish what looks like the impossible. To her coworkers, she seems to have boundless energy. To school principals and school personnel, she provides daily guidance for Title I compliance issues. They know they will not only get an answer when they call, but an answer they can rely on. On behalf of everyone who has benefited from her phenomenal work ethics and wealth of knowledge of Title I, it is with great pleasure that I nominate Sharon Williams for the 4-Star Awards program. Congratulations, Sharon. On behalf of the Clarke County School District, I would again like to thank all of you for your service. You represent your community and school district very well, and we sincerely appreciate all you do. Let's give them another round of applause.
You know, I too as well want to thank and congratulate all of our recipients of the awards tonight. I'd like to say that we put a lot of work in our agenda, and we do, but this may be the most fun and probably the most rewarding of all the things we do at a board meeting, is to be able to see the kinds of work that occurs, you know, with our students at all ages and with our employees and those that really make a commitment to the community. And if you just listen to this last set of presentations, there are several things that really resonate. One, our students and our employees and care about what they do and care tremendously to give back to the community and to others. And the other is the talent that our students are competing at a national level, if not an international level, and to be able to show that kind of expertise and experience and talents is rewarding for all of us in our community. And in order to make that happen, we have to have the adults there doing whatever is needed to make that happen. So it's a good day, Clarke.
Thank you, Dr. Lanou. And again, congratulations to all of the recipients. And we're going to move the agenda. We're down to item B, minutes of the previous meetings. We had 2, September 1st, September 8th. I have a motion for approval. Need a motion moved by Mr. Payne, seconded by Mr. Huff. Any questions pertaining to the minutes? Any questions? All in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Unanimous vote. Superintendent's report. Dr. Lanou.
A couple items on the superintendent's report this evening. Of course, I'm going to ask Dr. Mitchell to give a SPLOS 4 presentation to the board, but a few items before that. We will be voting on musical instruments this evening for Cedar Shoals, not to put any pressure on the board, but I'd like to read and announce that the Cedar Shoals Band received at the recent band festival the Superior Drum Major Award, Superior Color Guard, Superior Drum Line, and Superior Band, as well as first place Drum Major, second place Color Guard, second place Drum Line, and second place Band. So just a little information before we go into that vote.
Doesn't get any better.
It doesn't get any better, no pressure.
I know
And
you're
I
happy.
want to recognize Mr. Hardaway. You know you have your green packet for your information, and of course your important packet. Also note that we were working today on one of the Race to the Top grants that we had submitted earlier. This was around, it's in collaboration with the University of Georgia on teacher induction. It was a $1 million grant. We were not funded for the first round grant, but we were rated very high. I'm really pleased that we continued our work and plans for submission for a second piece on the innovation grant. But our conversations are so rich, and I think hopefully we're going to be successful in this round with the University of Georgia. The other is that I'd like to make a note in your packet. You'll notice another sheet of paper in the back. It's actually a photocopy. I'm really pleased that and let me just put it in perspective. In all of my other positions, I used to pick up these magazines, and I used to wonder who gets those awards for those buildings. You know, I'm in faraway places, and I had buildings that never looked like they do, so I kind of always marvel. I'd go through and you know, it's us.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are
Right.
getting those
Yes.
awards.
Right.
And so it's amazing, you know, like 20 years later, I'm looking, and there are schools, when I used to wonder, at least when I was up north, who were these people? But it's just incredible for Fowler Drive.
Yes.
That Fowler Drive was recognized in two publications. One, Learning by Design, fall of 2011. And that was for their general excellence in their entire campus. And then again by schools and universities, which I don't have in there, but another award for the design and the layout and the thought and care put into Fowler Drive. So here's one, not to be recognized in just one magazine, we got two.
Yep.
So, but this is, we continue through our last buildings to show up in these publications, and I think we ought to be really proud of the work that goes behind that in planning and producing those kinds of quality schools that are seen across the country as models for others. So I wanted to make a note of that. And with that, my final piece then will be SPLOS. Dr. Mitchell, you are on.
Okay. As you know, the awards don't come from one or two people. It's been my pleasure for almost a year now to work with SPLOS committees throughout the district to design the program for SPLOS 4. The neat thing about our whole program is that it is a program that everybody participates in. So we're now to the summary phase of SPLOS 4, and I hope tonight to tell you very briefly about what we've done, where we are, and where we would recommend that we go. I have to first of all find out if this thing is going to work. Is it? Okay. These are facts that some of you know, most of you on the board know. That is that what we're asking for on November 8th from the voters is a 1 cent sales tax, which is a continuation of the current tax. It'll be a 5-year program from 2012 to 2017, and will be a continuous program from where we are. We anticipate $105 million. It's only for capital outlay. It's managed by the Clarke County School District SPLOST office. We have a community oversight committee that we meet with. They've done a great job for us over the years. Each school has a SPLOST committee. That's the group that thank you, Len, that I was talking about meeting with. And we've had assessments by architects and engineers, and you're the folks who approve all these plans. First, though, I want to show you a few schools and what your votes of confidence have, and the voters in Clarke County have produced. This was the old Chase Street prior to SPLOST coming to town. And what we ended up doing was saving this front building, but the rest of the school has turned into a modern school. There were 12 trailers in that yellow rectangle there, but this is the new school at Chase Street. Again, respecting the history of the site, but producing what is a new modern school that supports the curriculum that is at that school. This is the Fowler Drive building that Dr. Lanou just referred to. And most all of our buildings, we keep part of the building if we can in order to make it more cost effective. In this case, we kept this portion of the building, but you'll see what happened to the rest. This school is designed to support science education, and two groups of professionals have said absolutely it's going to do a great job. Timothy Road was a real challenge. The old building at Timothy Road, really there were some features in it that did not hold up very well. Downspouts that were built into walls that rusted out and produced conditions in slabs and inside of the building that were unacceptable. So what we've done at Timothy Road is we tore down the square, we kept this wing and the gym, and in the end, this is what happened. This is the first elementary school that SPLOST has designed from the ground up as a two-story school, and it's working quite well. Two things I want to point out. One is the building is curved to save trees, but another real innovation at this site that saved a lot of unsightliness on the site is instead of putting the surface water runoff into a retention pond, after our architect worked with the local building department, we were allowed to put in what is called a level spreader. And a level spreader is a trough that goes down beside this playground where the water is put into that and then spills over into the woods as a sheet into the woods, which is exactly what you want to do with surface water runoff. You want to return it to the water table if you can, and you want to allow it to filter through the forest and to run off. You don't necessarily want to hold it the way a lot of the codes require. Now we have a similar school at Winterville, but we have a different design. And again, we're keeping the parts that work, the gym, the wing. In SPLOST 2, we added a media center and 4 classrooms. But this building had the same problems as Timothy Road. But because we kept the 4 classrooms here and the media center, this wing, and the gym, it really produced a very unique design. And this is one of the things that has been great about Clarke County. And I think is, when I first came here, we were a district of schools, but we were not a school district because we did not communicate very well with each other. It's kind of like feudal kingdoms out there. That's changed where we work together now. But the thing that we've kept from the past is the unique character of each school. And that's what the SPLOST program has tried to support, and that I think is very important in Clarke County. The H.T. Edwards facility, most of you haven't seen it from the air, of course, but quite a few changes have taken place over there. There's a new early childhood building. This was paid for by SPLOST. During the construction of this building, they received a federal grant that added on to that building at the same time. The Athens-Clarke County and the Athens Housing Authority worked with us as partners to create a gym that's the Boys and Girls Club here. And this building is a very interesting building. We have our Classic City High School there, but also we have Athens Tech there. Athens Tech runs a GED program at that point. Athens Tech is also going to be involved in the programs in the Career Center. Now, I told another group the other day that this is the way our roofs used to look, but they don't anymore. They look like this. But this picture was taken before that building was completed. I would encourage you and everyone in the public, we all own this together. And so you need to go over and take a look. The Career Center is a major part of this structure, and we also have offices for agencies that support programs throughout the county that in turn support the school district. So looking at that, the question is, where do you go from here? Where does SPLOST 4 head? And to do that, what we did was look over the whole program, 2, 3, and 4 together, and look at what has happened. If you look at under 2, there were things that we must do, and this is things like leaking roofs, HVAC systems. Actually, just prior to that, we had things like barbed wire around Clarke Central. It was really kind of crazy the way this started, but it's gotten a lot better. But if you'll notice this, the must changes from here to here to here. We're going into SPLOST 4, and there's still things that we must do. But we have an opportunity to look at our need. And what the need is a program that's in play right now, but is not supported very well by the facility. So we can look more closely at that, and we can also look at the what we want to do. And let me tell you how we got to the want. Because want is something that teachers and educators may not be able to have even thought about because they didn't have support. They couldn't possibly dream of doing things in the building. But the committee structure allows us to take a look at that. What we do first in the SPLOST process, what we did first, is we hired architects and engineers to produce a condition assessment. They did that for each facility in the district, and they supplied a cost breakdown of how much it would cost, basically to paint up and fix up the buildings we had. Then we went to the faculties of each school and said, okay, you tell us, you're the user, you tell us now what is the condition of the building. We've got an architect and engineer looking at it. We want you to tell us what the condition is because a user always sees things close up and personal. And then we put those two things together, and we have what we think is the condition of the structure. We then go back to the committee and say, what current needs do you have? We have a lot of special programs in Clarke County to serve a lot of special people. And in some of our schools, we don't have places to serve those people. So that's the kind of input that led to commons in our elementary schools. If you go into the schools that have been built since SPLOST started, you'll see common areas where teachers can pull out students with similar problems or similar skills and work with them in smaller groups. Those are the kinds of needs that schools have. Educational vision is what we went back to them after that. And we got everything from we ought to buy Tybee Island to maybe we should put showers in classrooms for homeless kids. Not in classrooms, but in schools for homeless children. A lot of good ideas came out of that. All of this stuff gets rolled into the plan, and then we went back to the architect and said, okay, what is all this stuff going to cost? And this is the way the budget is built for a program. So we have schools, we know their condition, we know what they need, we know what they want. We put that all together, and we can form a budget. And then from that budget, you put that all together, and we have the program. Now, this is just like anything you do for your house. You know, if you start saying, well, I need this, and I want that, but we must do this. We must pay that driveway, but I really would like a screen porch. All of a sudden, you're over your budget. So when you look at all of these requests, what you end up with is $185 million. Well, we're going to take in 105. And this is why then what we're looking at is a combination of 2, 3, and 4 all together. How much money do we have all together in that? In that we have about $146 million. So it's not like you can't do things. It's just that you have to figure out how to do them. One of the things that you run into in planning a program like this is when each school tells you what they need, they don't know the rest of the plan. They have to speak from where they are. And so you end up with situations where, since they don't know what's happening to their neighbor, they still think they need something. And those kinds of things all come together in the plan. This is a good example of it. There are three points to make for this whole program. One is we want to complete the 10-year plan for equity of schools among schools in the district. We want to complete the neighborhood schools plan, which means building 2 new schools. And we want to purchase appropriate instructional technology to use to support the curriculum and support teaching and learning at every grade level throughout the district. So those are sort of the overview of it. But the two new schools led us to some interesting information. First of all, if you look at Westside, that is being designed now, that's going to be out at Lantern Walk, out Old Jefferson Road. And then you look at where are those students going to school now. What you find is that Whitehead Road has 232 of those students that actually live in the West Side District. They're going to school at Whitehead Road because we don't have that school built. Now, they're in portables, you know, there's no way to avoid it. But also 232 students completely overpowers the core of the school. It overpowers the cafeteria, it overpowers the gym, the media center. So Whitehead Road has to be dealt with. Well, how do you deal with it? One way to deal with it is by building West Side as soon as you can. Same thing at Oglethorpe. They have 119 kids going here. Even Chase Street and Cleveland Road have kids who are assigned to the West Side School. So that led to an interesting comparison. Then we looked over on the east side and said, did we have a similar thing? And sure enough, we do. Barnett Shoals has 162 kids. Whit Davis 182, Gaines 158. So we know this, that we know by building Esom and by building Westside, we can impact other schools. The other thing that we were told by our architects and engineers is, you know, there always has to be a best and a worst. And what they told us was that the school in the worst condition in the district was Barrow. Now, Barrow is kind of in the condition that Chase Street was before we got there. They have an old building. It's a 1923 building. It has historical significance, but it's in bad shape. And it's hard to maintain. So we know that's an issue out there, too. So we've got Westside, Esom, and Barrow that are issues. We also know that Barnett Shoals is in bad condition, and Barnett Shoals kind of fit in the fourth place. And Whit Davis, which is completely overpowered by the number of students right now, fits in that bracket as well. So from there, what you end up producing is a list of must, need, want, and who will be next. And if you look at this, Esom has great impact on these three schools. And some of them, of course, are in the needs and wants category. Westside has a tremendous impact on the program. So if you do these two schools, you know you're going to have a greater impact than what you're doing. But we still have this problem with Barrow. Now the problem with Barrow is that Barrow's on 5.5 acres. It's the smallest campus in the district. If we were building Barrow new on that land, we would not be allowed to do it because 15 acres is the minimum in the state right now. But we are allowed to do it since Barrow has been there. But we can't do it safely keeping students there. Do you remember when you looked at Timothy Road and you saw the building curving around? That building was all built while students went to school in that building. And it was built very safely. There was no problem with doing that because they have a big site there and we could work with it. Well, Barrow doesn't have that big site. And so something has to happen with Barrow. And what this led to is saying, okay, what's got to take place here is we need to build Westside and we need to build Esom, and simultaneous with that, we need to build Barrow. But where is Barrow going? And the place for Barrow to go is at Old Gaines. This will be, it seems, the last time Old Gaines would be used. But now the second problem is that we're going to build Esom on that site. And I wanted to point out Timothy because the Old Gaines site is large enough to do the same kind of thing. And that is that Esom will be built basically behind Old Gaines. It's just in this case, Barrow should be occupying Old Gaines at the same time. And then when they come back to their school, it'll be ready. Now,
So, Bill, just to clarify, so all 3 schools will open when?
I'm about to show you that here.
I'm so heady. I'm so sorry, Bill.
Okay. Okay. So what this led to was a schedule, and if you read this schedule, this is months and years going down and projects going across. The projects in green up top are the Barrow and Eastham and Westside. The ones in blue are Barnett Shoals and Whit Davis, and you have to realize that you need to do Eastham before you do Barnett Shoals, because you need to get those 162 students out of Barnett Shoals into Eastham, and then you can really work on that side. It makes it a lot safer. Similar thing with Whitehead Road. It makes it a lot safer to build West Side and get those students out, and then you have a manageable situation. So what we're really looking at to kick off SPLOST 4 is Barrow, Eastham, and West Side. And where we're looking at it is right there. If you look at West Side, we expect to finish it at that point in time. I think that's April 2013. And if you look at the other 2 projects here, Barrow and Eastham, we expect to finish in July of 2013. So this yellow line down here is a very important line. Everything's got to come together right there. And we feel we have the team in place to do that. If any of you saw Piedmont Construction Company and R.W. Allen. R.W. Allen did a great job on Timothy Road. Piedmont Construction Company they built in the 200-year flood over at H.T. Edwards and outran everything, and they did a great job, just an absolutely great job. So we've got 2 members of the team. We've got Charles Black, who's on here also as a construction management firm, and that makes it easier to get the building built because you can work with a guy. You're not at odds with him. You're the architect and is actually working with the contractor to get it built, and that's good. So we feel like we have teams at all 3 sites. The Barrow site will have the Piedmont Construction team on that too, and they're absolutely perfect for that. So I don't see anything, having gone through all this, and after the vote, hopefully it's positive, after the vote we need to get together again and go over all this step by step and get your approval for that, because that's what you're elected to do. So we appreciate it. And I think that's it. Thank you, sir.
Talk a little bit about the other project as being Clarke Central.
Clarke Central is going to be a 2-part project. One of the things that we need to do is achieve equity in the district. And right now, if you compared high schools, Clarke Central is the one that needs to work. Well, in SPLOST 3, we have $8.6 million in that budget. We knew it was going to take more than $8.6 million to do the job. So right now that's kind of on hold in terms of design, but that would be looked at as phase 1. And we're not exactly sure what phase 1 is going to be. We think it's going to be a fine arts center there and black box theater. So we're kind of looking at that, but there are a lot of other things that need to happen. One of the things on Clarke Central is you need to tie that building together so that people are not going outdoors and indoors and outdoors and indoors, and you've got 100 doors and you can't take care of it. It's unmanageable. Is Terry still here? Terry's been managing it, but it's a tough one, isn't it, Frank? It's a tough one. So the plan for Clarke Central is to actually tie it together in a kind of a mall, a learning mall on the back. If you've been to Clarke Central to the media center, what the plan is, as a preliminary plan, is to tie all of the backs of those buildings together with a kind of an open corridor that has learning centers along the way. That should be a very exciting learning space as well.
And that also, as you know, the board was looking at the purchase of properties.
Right.
And so therefore in the back, that will allow us to really change the traffic flow from buses going into the back
right.
versus as I've told everyone, it took me a year and a half to figure out that both those entrances are entrances. You can't come back out
Yeah.
on one side of that sign. Just took me
I
a while.
I think there are students who come to the university and graduate before they never,
I
because
always
it's
thought
hard
you
to
could come
figure
out
out.
that side, but you can't.
Yeah, but that will get the buses coming in off of Rock Springs and Billups into the back, and also it'll get students dropped off in the cafeteria area, which is the best area to drop them off. Right now, they're dropped off the other end of the school, so you drop a kid off, they have to walk the length of the school to get to where they're going in the morning, and that's not a good situation. That's a good point.
Any questions for Dr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. Payne.
Today I received a magazine from the National School Board Association, and on that it said a building, new school building that teach. And I think that the SPOS committee need to understand and what we've done that's gotten national recognition. They need to understand that and put it in their whatever they're doing out there among the citizens. They need to know that we are on track. We're doing what they are asking us to do now. It came today, and I reported to this board when I was in San Francisco that that's what's happening in a lot of areas now. It started in China.
I think it actually started in Clarke County.
A lot of that issue, though, is about the technology stuff we're looking at for the West Side School.
Right,
It'd be
right.
worth looking at if you haven't seen it.
Absolutely.
Any further questions? That was a nice article in the paper this morning by SPOS Board.
Good, that's good.
Very well put together.
Thank
Just
you.
as we wrap up my report, if I can just make a couple of comments. First, thanking Dr. Mitchell as not only facilitated what I think is just a thoughtful and comprehensive process, but also put together a set of tools that we can begin to really monitor our projects. And of course, what you saw today is just a further deepening of the conversation we had at our workshop. So I know a lot of this, we got to a point because of the conversations we had with you in our workshop last summer. And I think because of that, we're in a really good place. And I also want to make a note, because you mentioned the contractors and architects, that the thinking behind going to using different architects and different design groups, I think was a really good concept. That we're able to bring on board 3, am I correct? And we began to assign those architects based on their concept plans and what might be best for the projects, because all our projects were different. So thank you for all of your work and your team, and Mr. Gilbert and David and our school committees.
Okay.
That ends my report this evening.
All right, we can move forward. Item E, report of current committees. Dr. Lanu.
I have to get my glasses on here at this point. SPLOS 2, SPLOS 3 monthly reports. Those are in your packet. I recommend that we approve the financial report for August 2011.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mr. Payne. We have a second on that, second by Mr. Huff. Any questions pertaining to the financial report? Any questions pertaining to the financial report? All in favor? Unanimous vote. Thank you very much. Motion passed.
GSBA District Director's Report, and I think Ms. Thornton may have a report as well, but I'm going to start and turn it over to Mr. Payne.
I just have two. Ms. Thornton have the report. On last week, we was addressed by Ross King. He is the Executive Director of the Association of County Commissioners of Georgia, and he endorsed the Vision Project, and he's going to work all that he can in order to help it in the Chamber of Commerce. Also, last Thursday and Friday, the Risk Management Fund worked on our strategic plan for the next 5 years, and we had various people from the community, bankers, and Chamber of Commerce. Eric Keys came from the Clarke County School District and worked with us for 2 days. So I don't have the finished product. They are mailing it out today, and when I get it, I will get it to you. And I'm going to yield now to Ms. Thornton.
I actually attended the advocacy workshop with GSBA on Monday. Carol also was there, so she may want to chime in. It was interesting. It's, you know, with the budget, everything you hear about the cuts and that we're pretty much aware of. The things that stood out most in my mind, and I hope we can take advantage of it because we were talking about it, how issues become issues with GSBA, and maybe next year, I believe, with Mr. Payne, he'll give us what GSBA is going to be looking at, and we as a board can review it, have input, and even send back recommendations. Those recommendations, I believe, come out in January, maybe February. But I don't think that it's an opportunity that we should overlook in the future of having our voice with GSBA. The other thing that I asked Terry to do at the last minute, and I appreciate it, was to send a copy out of, and it's in your information package, and it is on the different waivers that we are could apply for. I know already we have done the class size waiver, so in your package, the different waivers that we are eligible to apply for with the changes in local government. And I was really surprised talking to other board members from different cities that they have not started working on redistricting or even looking at it. So I don't know what that means, but I do think we're ahead of the game as far as that's concerned. So the main thing was to be prepared, trying to have information with GSBA recommendations in January, having input. That's where we can have some say-so on the issues that GSBA is going to address at the summer conference. And with that, I will turn it over to Carol. Maybe she can add something.
Okay, can I see that sheet? I'm sorry, I'm looking at mine. One of the points on the sheet about the waivers, as I understood it, is there's going to be a review of the code, and things that are being asked for a lot will be looked at to see if they can just be taken out of the code, because so many people are asking for those and getting those, and so it's taking up a lot of time at the board level to deal with all of the waivers that come up that maybe should not have to be requested. So that's something that, if there's an issue that we have now, is an appropriate time to bring that forward.
The other thing, and I just glanced over, and they mentioned about Title 20.
Yeah,
That was really, and they make that sounds, I don't know if I know enough about Title 20. I don't know if we can get a little summary of Title 20. I see Mr. Payne ready to tell me, but I do
if you
think.
go on the website in SBA, they can give you all
But
the
I think, and I guess I'm putting it out there for the board, I think they really hammered on that Title 20, and I just think that's something that I would feel more knowledgeable. Now, it may be on the website, now I know to look for it, but I'm just saying for the board as a whole, we should be more informed about Title 20.
Well, we can at this point, if I can interject, with Mr. Hardaway and I, we'll look at Title 20 and see if we can do a summary sheet of most pertinent items, just an information sheet.
And also, some of the recommendations that were coming at this point in time, some have already been submitted, but on the Education Finance Committee or Commission that the governor appointed, they are finalizing their recommendations to be considered in January, so we need to pay attention to those as well.
All righty.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay, after we finish, Dr. Lanu, we can move forward. We're down to item F, old business.
Old business, this will be two parts. I'm going to ask that we recommend that we move regulations, policies and regulations off the table and then approve the policies. These would be policy DI, that's accounting and reporting, is revised. The regulation for DI, which is new. Staff political activities, GAHB, which is revised. We will rescind GAHB-R. Revised would be policy GBK on professional personnel suspension. We'll rescind GBK-R, which is the reg. We will revise is GBR-H, professional leaves and absences. Revised GCD, classified personnel hiring. We will rescind regulation GCDR for classified personnel hiring, and we'll all revise regulation JCDR, student behavior code. As you know, these have gone through policy committee, and this is part of our efforts to review and to consolidate when needed our policies.
Okay, I need a motion and a second to remove these policies and regulations from the table. Moved by Mr. Huff, seconded by Ms. Ellis. All in favor? Okay, they're off the table. Now, superintendent have gone through all of it. I think I checked all 5 policies.
Yes.
And then, of course, the regulations, we don't vote on regulations. You're gonna make a recommendation.
I'd recommend approval of the policies as stated.
Okay, a recommendation from the superintendent on these 5 policies to be approved. Okay, moved by Mr. Huff, got a second by Ms. Ellis. Any questions about any of these policies? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed. As I stated, we don't vote on regulation. Item G.
Item G, new business, recommend approval of the consent agenda.
The recommendation of the 3 items on the consent agenda. We got a motion by Mr. Payne, seconded by Mr. Nunley. All in favor? Okay, unanimous vote. Motion passed.
Number four, and this is a regulation, so that's not approved by the board, but because we put regulations on the table for 4 weeks, this one has been on a week. I would ask, and we need a 2/3. Do we need 2/3 vote to remove it? So I'd ask that we suspend the rules and remove regulation IHAA, academic achievement final exams, that we take it off the table. Suspend the rules.
I need a motion
So
to
moved.
suspend the rules.
Yes.
Second to take this off the table. Moved by Mr. Payne, seconded by Dr. Spangler. All in favor? Okay, unanimous vote. It's off the table.
It's off the table. Are there any questions at this point? And it's off the table. If there's no questions, that regulation will go into effect.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Next, number 5, recommend purchase of school bus, number 5. Let me just catch up here. Approval of the purchase of 2 new school buses, Bluebird, 72 passengers, related equipment as outlined on the attached documents. That would be out of the, and approve a budget amendment for the general fund, the amount of $33,271. And the total purchase price for those buses, $185,710.
Okay, that's on item 5, school bus purchase and transportation. Moved by Mr. Nunley, second by Mr. Payne. All, well, any questions about number
Yes.
5? Go ahead.
We talked about this. I don't know, from the State Department, we are falling farther and farther behind in our bus purchasing because they're not allowing us enough money to keep abreast. So we're getting farther and farther behind. We're having to use buses much longer than we need to be using them. So I don't know what needs to be done, but we need to speak to our legislators, and maybe they can do something under the Gold Dome, but this needs to be looked at.
Okay. I know last week there was a question from Mr. Huff pertaining to seatbelts, and Mr. Mitchell, Dr. Mitchell, passed out a sheet here pertaining to that. So do you want to, have you read the sheet, or you want him to talk?
And it's talks about the safety of school buses and the comparison of the two, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
So that, okay, Ms. Thornton?
I was going to go back to comment to follow up what Mr. Payne said about speaking to our legislatures about our bus situation. Another thing that came out on Monday's training was building our relationship with our elected officials statewide. I mean, not just do the breakfast and they come in but sit down and actually talk to them and have a list of local priorities in advance. I know we've talked about it, but we've never done it. But if this is an issue that resonates with the state, it might be something that we could start looking at as a priority to have some friendly conversation with our elected officials, some little get-together, and especially showing them our new buildings. It might be a good way to start some conversation.
If I may comment on Board Member Thornton, I think what it's lending to is our role in legislative matters as a board. And there probably, certainly, as we begin to look at our own board goals, to look at how we can form and become much more active in legislative matters. And so that's certainly, I think, something we could put a topic of conversation in terms of some boards go as far as even to put their legislative priorities to begin to decide, take positions and stances, and that's something we ought to consider as a board. That would help guide our conversation with our legislators.
And let me add to that, and thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Thornton, because I'm looking at November's calendar, And on November the 7th, we are meeting with the Clarke County Mayor and Commission at the Career Academy. And my reason for bringing this up, several years ago, the same meeting, we invited the state legislators, you know, the representatives and also the senators. So that may be something that we can think about doing for November the 7th.
Okay.
Have them included in that meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. All righty.
We are.
So we're down to item 6.
Did we?
I'm sorry.
We still need one
Got to
more.
vote.
on that.
Got to
We got a
vote, that's
motion
right.
and a
I
second.
made a note, okay. Any further questions pertaining to item 5? Okay, all in favor? Okay, very much, okay. Motion passed. Now we're down to item 6.
Item 6, recommend approving a budget amendment to the general fund not to exceed $75,000 for the purchase of band instruments and equipment for Cedar Shoals High School.
Okay, moved by Mr. Payne, got a second by Ms. Williams. All in favor, I'm sorry, questions first. Questions? Have questions?
I just wanted to thank our superintendent for making that statement prior to our voting. And made it very clear.
I wouldn't want to sway the vote.
Okay, now, no further
We just passed
questions.
a policy that prohibits you from political activity.
No further questions, all in favor? Okay, motion passed unanimously. Item 7.
Item 7 was a budget amendment. My apologies for not getting it to you until yesterday. It just took a little while to put this package together. This money is budgeted for the Career Academy. We didn't use those expenditures until we decided what we wanted to do, especially in regards to technology. As you know, we're working with the state that we are partnering with them to be a mixed method, which means we use the Georgia Virtual High School curriculum in most of the classes, not all. And for those that aren't, we're going to be developing that curriculum. What this allows us to do, that every student who is in the Career Academy program, whether it's in a CTA or a career course or an academic course, they will have access in front of them, either a computer or a tablet, or in this case a netbook, so that we can truly begin to pilot what that mixed methodology is going to be. So they will have access to that information at their desk. They're not yet to take them home, we're not there, but when every student goes in, we've taken that next step in terms of technology, where our kids will have instant access. So I'm recommending the purchase of netbooks. We're choosing netbooks this time around because we believe they'll serve our function the best for what we need. As you know, that may change again in a year or 6 months, but that's the amount of $58,647.45.
Okay, netbooks for the Career Academy, $58,647.45. Okay, I need a motion. Moved by Ms. Williams, seconded by Dr. Spangler. Any questions about this item 7, notebooks for the Academy? Any questions? All in favor?
Thank you.
Motion passed. Thank you.
8, recommend approval of the personnel recommendations and addenda.
Okay, recommendation from the superintendent on the personnel recommendation. Moved by Mr. Payne. Got a second on that, second by Mr. Hubb. Okay. All in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed. Okay.
I think that's it for me,
Can I
President
ask-
Worth.
Go ahead.
2 things. First, I just want to clarify, the consent agenda shows 3 items. There are 4 items in our packet. I just want to make sure the minutes end up correct. The utility easement is in our packet, but not up
I'm
there. I
sorry.
can't remember whether we approved
No,
that last
we-
week or.
We approved it last week.
Okay,
It
I
should
couldn't, I
have
couldn't
gone.
remember
Okay.
whether we did or not, so I
So-
just want to make sure
That
the
was my
minutes ended up
mistake.
right.
So the clarification that the easement was approved, so that was not
Yeah,
part
so
of
the
the
agenda's
consent.
correct. I
Part of
just
the
wanted to make sure
consent
we weren't missing an
Okay.
item.
You're correct.
And then the last thing is just to point out that everybody's got a copy of the redistricting map based on the changes we made last week. And we're going to vote on the final one in November. So hopefully nobody's got any more changes, but you've got all the data and you've got the district map in color and you've got your small map, your piece of it. Is there a larger one here?
There is in my
Yeah,
office.
and
So
Sarah's
if people want to see the bigger picture on the larger piece of paper, you can see it here before the November board meeting.
Okay. No further discussions on that. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Payne, got a second by Mr. Hubb. All in favor? Thank you very much. Nice.
Thank you.